Hi again everyone and welcome to the Laughter Crafter. It's good to be with you again. Well, last time we made a lovely little plaster of Paris clay impression of some flowers, and then we framed it in a frame, and I had a lot of fun doing that. This week I've got a different kind of clay that I've used. It's polymer clay, and I've made these, some rings made from polymer clay. There we go. And I popped them inside this little sardine tin, which I painted gold and then put some paper down the bottom. I'm probably, if I was going to give these as a gift, I'd probably put some potpourri or something in the bottom. But there you go. They're all shiny because they've been varnished with some special polymer clay varnish. But there it is. Have a little close up. It's quite different, quite funky, and fits me perfectly. So there we go. This is a fun little activity that you could do with your friends or with your children or grandchildren. It's really easy and doesn't take a lot of skill or know-how or expense for that matter either. Okay, so here is the limerick that goes with this project. If you're wanting to brighten your day, make some fun rings from polymer clay. Save a small sardine tin from the recycle bin and the rings will have somewhere to lay. There you go. Okay, now a very profound thought from me this time. So I wonder if you know what the difference between a raven and a crow is. Well, a raven has 17 pinion feathers, not leaves. No, they don't have leaves, they have feathers. That's the ones that stick out the end of their wings. They're called pinion feathers. And a raven has 17 and a crow only has 16 pinion feathers. So the difference between a raven and a crow is a matter of opinion. I love that. Okay, why don't we do some craft? So I've gathered the bits and pieces I think I'm going to need to make the polymer clay ring and its own little jewel box. So I have the clean empty sardine can, which I'm going to spray with this gold paint, and then on the bottom of it I'm going to glue, I think, this piece of this paper just with craft glue. I'm going to cut it out. Obviously I need scissors as well. That's for the little, let's call it a jewel box. Now for the polymer clay, I've got some colours here, and I'm going to probably make a few different rings and perhaps use them all to give as a gift in this little jewel box. I've got these little shaping tools, and there's some different patterns there. I may or may not end up using them. And once the polymer clay is cooked in the oven and the ring is made, then I'm going to brush on this gloss varnish, which is made for the modelling clay. So there we go. So why don't we make a start? I've got to show you this little plastic cylinder that I'm going to use to make the finger hole in the polymer clay. So there we go. But you know, you could use just about anything that you've got that's about that size that's useful for making the shape, but that's what I'm going to use. So I painted this little sardine can gold with the spray paint, and I decided to go just for a plain yellow piece of card to fit in the bottom, so I've cut that to size. Now I'm just going to pop in some craft glue just in the center, really down the bottom of this can. It'll spread out. In your pop, little fella. And that's great. Hasn't oozed up the side, so that's good. Just leave that be while I get on with the rings. So it took about 5 millimeters of each different polymer clay. That's about that much from each of these 5. And what I find is best to do with this polymer clay is to knead it really well. It becomes much easier to work with and more pliable if you knead it in your hands. The warmth of your hands really makes it workable. So I've smooshed it into a ball. Now that is actually more than we need to make a ring, but it's better this way to have a bit more than you need, and then just to cut away what you don't need. So now that I've made a ball and there's no cracks where it's all crumbly, it's actually really together really well. So I'm going to roll it out with my hand As long as your hands are clean and not greasy or oily or covered in dirt, the natural oil from your hands is not going to harm this polymer clay at all. So I've got some lovely mixture of the colours there. I want to twist it a little bit, just like so, and that I think is going to make a nice effect. So now I'm going to spiral it all together and smush it again into a ball. Okay, that's good. Now I'm just going to flatten it a little bit, like so. There's one of these has got gold sparkles. This gold one has got tiny weeny pieces of glitter. So every now and then that glitter pops through, and I quite like that. So I want it to be kind of oval in that shape, but flat top and bottom. So I'm going to use my little plastic cylinder. I've discovered it's a little bit too big for my finger, but I'm going to use it anyway and take it down to about there and just gently twist. Don't go like a bull at a gate at this. You just want to gently twist it in like so until it's all the way down, and then pull it out again. Okay, that's pretty, isn't it? Looks like an agate. Okay, and what I can do, my finger's not very big, and that size looks a bit big for my finger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it there and take a chunk out and smush it back together and see what that looks like. Smush it, smush. You really want that to be connected back together again. The baking of this in the oven, this goes in the oven when I'm happy with the ring. It goes in the oven, and that will make it a lot stronger. And then once it's baked at 130 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes, it will become pretty hard and robust. Then I'm going to come back with that special varnish that is made for polymer clay. Now that's looking good. I'm just going to shave off a little bit from the sides, because you want to be able to have your fingers together, not out like this because of the size of the ring. A little bit off the bottom, both sides. That's looking pretty groovy. That side is cut up a little more than that, so I'm just going to even it up like so. And then I'm going to come back with one of these interesting little pattern makers. Let's just see what this does. Can you see that? That's quite interesting. Quite like that. I don't know how well that shows up there. That's quite good. Now it's rather hard to test this on my hand because it is just very soft and floppy clay, but I'm not going to push that on, it will all collapse. But I can tell this isn't going to shrink or stretch in the oven. I can tell that when that is done, it is going to be fine. Now I probably don't want it to stick out that much, so I'm probably going to take some ore off here because it's just a knuckle duster at the moment. Get in there with my little pattern maker. What do you think? A little bit crazy, isn't it? But you know what? It's unique. And I'm into wearing pretty, crazy, fun, funky, colourful, different, unique things. I quite like that. So there we go. There's our ring. I'm going to have a go at making a couple more, and I'll speed up the camera speed so that you can watch me do it in fast motion. But I quite like that one. Okay, a bit of an experiment, but I'm going to go ahead and put these in a very warm oven, not a hot oven, 130 degrees, actually anywhere between 110 and 130 degrees Celsius, which is a fairly low heat, for 30 minutes. You don't want to heat these quickly, they will crack. Being polymer clay, you want to heat them slowly. So I'm going to actually put them in a cold oven and then turn the heat on, and once the heat reaches around about 130 degrees, I'll time it for 30 minutes, and then I will turn the oven off and let them cool down and take them out and brush on some of this special varnish and see how we go. Okay, what do you think? It's pretty chunky, but I quite like it. This is even chunkier. These were in the oven on 130 degrees Celsius for 35 minutes. I don't know if it's easy for you to see those little marks from those little pattern thingamybobs that I had, but I can see them. So now I'm ready to varnish. So what I'm going to do, I've propped up some chopsticks on these little cans. I'm going to take my special polymer varnish, and I'm going to just carefully hold this on the bottom and varnish. So I'm going to varnish this and then hang it from those chopsticks. And then while it's hanging, I'll varnish the bit where I'm holding it right now. But that's really glowing now that it's got that varnish on it. There you go. I'll do the other two. So I've varnished all the little rings, and I found if I just wanted to put a few extra coats on that top surface, and this works for whatever you want to varnish, you can just sit it upright in a bowl of rice or sand or porridge, or not porridge, you know, oats, well, not porridge, and they will stay upright while you just brush on your varnish. So I've done that. So they're ready now to just be put into our gorgeous little sardine can that's painted gold. So there we go. What I think I'll do, if I'm going to keep these in here, is put in some potpourri for them to sit on. But anyway, that's it, and they all fit on my fingers very nicely. Thank you very much. That one goes on sideways. So I quite like that. I quite like that. It's quite pretty. Anyway, there we go. There's our polymer clay rings. Okay, so there you go. 3 little polymer clay rings, and you can mix and match as however you want to. Get whatever funky colors that you want to use, and make whatever designs you want, whatever size you want, and have fun with it. I hope that you do, and post your pictures up as well so that we can all enjoy them. In the meantime, before I see you next time, I hope that you have lots of fun laughing and lots of fun doing craft as well. Bye.